promoting all educators with a passion for teaching and a health for faith. Get ready for a transformative journey with the Educators with Oil podcast, where host Ronnette Branham is dedicated to helping teachers become better through biblical strategies.
Welcome to Educators with Oil, the podcast where educators who teach with purpose, lead with strategy, and walk with spiritual authority. I'm your host, Ronnette Branham, a veteran teacher and passionate advocate for classroom transformation. Today's episode is titled Teacher Burnout is Real, and the summer is your sacred time to reset. Today we're going to be diving into this powerful episode as I sit down with educator and motivational speaker Anita Gethers to talk about how to truly rest, refuel, and reclaim your joy as a teacher. If you're tired of starting every school year already drained, this conversation is a wake-up call. Because what we're going to talk about, we're going to leave here with is why summer self-care is more than spa days. Of course, we're going to get to that spa. You got to get to that spa in the summertime, at least once or twice. Practical ways to build daily self-care in your school year. How to protect your peace with God-centered wellness. The mindful shift every teacher needs before September hits. September in New Jersey, and if you're in the South, before August hits, because I think in the South, they're already out of school. So don't just survive, thrive. With your calling as an educator, let this be the summer you stop pouring from an empty cup. Whether you're commuting, planning lessons, or taking a moment to breathe, this is your space to grow, reflect, and recharge. So let's step in the classroom with clarity, confidence, and don't forget that oil, as we are educators with oil. So again, we have today to talk about that resetting, that summer resetting, refueling, and recharging. We have Anita Gethers, another educator, and she is here to help, unpack some things about self-care. What is self-care? What is true rest? We think just because we're off in the summertime, we're getting rest because we're not teaching. A lot of times we're not getting rest. So let's welcome Anita Gethers. How are you today, Anita?
Good evening and what's up, everybody? I am doing phenomenal because it is the last week of school where I am. So I'm doing good. I'm doing great. How are you doing, Ronnette?
I'm great. So you're still in school?
Oh, child, the struggle is still ongoing.
Oh,
but there are some schools and some districts that just finished last week. Okay. But where I currently teach, we still have to go until this Friday and then graduation this Saturday. So I'm almost there. I can see.
So you did like us to end of May, because we are to the end of June. Maybe we have one extra week. My grandkids have to the end of June.
Okay.
Okay. They taking every ounce, right?
Everything from us. I'm telling you.
Okay, because I thought I don't. Maybe Georgia is the ones who are out.
Georgia. Like I said, some districts they're finished. Georgia typically is finished before Memorial Day, so they're done. But we still got this week to get it done.
Oh, okay, yeah, because we have. They say 15 more days of school, so that means we're at 165 days. So that's easy breezy. I'm looking at my kids today. I don't know why I was expecting not to work. Like something in my head is like, oh, you still here? Okay. I gotta teach something, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe the holiday did it. I thought that was it. I came to school and I'm like, okay, let's learn some words. All right, let's get to it. Yeah, but I'm excited too about the summer. I'm excited starting in June because I'm going to the next level speakers conference.
Okay,
be fun. I'm going to work it, so I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. This, for every educator, this is probably, like, professionally as well as personally, this is probably the most important part of the year when you're getting close to the end of the school year. Not because you can look back at all of your accomplishments and what the students did under your tutelage, but because this is the part of the year where you can be selfish for a purpose. Okay. And so throughout the year, we feel so guilty. We're like, oh no, gotta be there for the kids. And for me, I don't say for the kids. I'm like, no, I gotta be there for my coworkers because they need me and I don't want them to have to cover my class if there is no sub, right? But now is the part of the year where it's like, nah, I'm doing this for me. And I don't care what y'all gotta do about it. I'm doing this for me. And that's one of the beautiful things about self-care in and of itself is when you get to be selfish on purpose for a purpose.
Yeah, that's exciting because a lot of people don't take off during the year and then they wait to the end. So now, I don't know about your school, a lot of people are out. Like, they like, you don't have a sub. Like today, I missed my prep. I got to remember to put in that time because they didn't have an extra person or something. I don't know what was happening. But I didn't get my prep today because we have a lot of people out this time of year. So
absolutely.
People are you all right? Is that what's happening? We're being selfish, like taking care of ourselves. Is that what it is?
Listen, I think for some people, I can only speak for myself. I will not speak about others, right? But for me, this time of the year, if I'm taking off, it is on purpose and it is being selfish. And I'm okay with it being selfish because I was selfless for the majority of the school year. And that's, that's part of our Christian faith. That's part of our walk is we're obedient and we will serve. We understand, that we're on this planet on purpose and God has something that he wants to do through us. So we participate and we partner with his plan, right? But after the work has been done, after the seeds have been sown, there is a thing called Sabbath, and he designed that on purpose for us too. So we can't just we can't have one without the other. Those two things work in tandem, work and rest. So if you don't do either of them diligently, then you're doing yourself a disservice. And honestly, what you're doing is you're telling God that you don't need the rest. And if he created it just for us and you bold enough to tell him what you don't need, you let me know how that works out. But if he said rest on purpose, then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to rest on purpose.
So I'm going to be somebody else right now. So I'm just taking days off. How about we got the summer? We got 2 months in the summertime. I'm not understanding. I'm just saying. I'm not saying I take a day. I don't have. Most of my days are because I have something to take care of. They say my personal days for the 5th and the 6th for the conference. But yeah, we got Saturday and Sunday. But no, I get it. We do. That's the joke, but we do. I have to take days. You just can't keep going because you're not even serving the kids when you're tired. You're not.
Correct.
You're because like I said, I came to school today. I'm like, y'all still here.
Now, granted, now there is a fine line. I'm not talking about the habitual repeaters where it's like you going off of your feelings. You just don't feel like it because there's going to be, all of us don't feel like it a lot of the time, but we're still going to have to dig deep and go on those days when we don't feel like it. I ain't talking about that, but I'm talking about there's 180 days in the school year and you've only missed 2 of them. Then come on now, give that person a little bit of grace. But now you out here on something you missing a day every other week. Now we need to have a little discussion. Like, hold up, now wait a minute now. Okay, so it's a difference. It's a line. But when it comes to self-care, those days will be intentional. Okay. And you're absolutely right. You can't serve your students when you're sick. And that's not just physical illness. That's mentally, if you are exhausted and fatigued. That is emotionally, if you are exhausted and fatigued. Those things, we can't pretend like, as much as we love this profession, we cannot pretend like it is all of our life. There are things that happen outside of it that we must attend to. And because we're tending to those matters, we have to be intentional about our self-care routine.
Yeah. He said he needs a day off right now. Yeah, I thought I had one today going to work. I'm telling you.
Not yet.
We
Not
yet. That's cool. How we just got right into that. This is great. That's just an introduction. So what are we going to talk about? Because we do have to take time off. We do. If we're working constantly, our brains are being drained. Our brains are being used, and that's why we sleep, because our brain has to rest. You cannot try to go 3 days straight without any sleep. We can die. That's for real. You can. Yep. So you have to rest your brain. You have to get that rest. I know people in our district. I know my boss. She's like, if you need a day off, take that day. You ain't gonna come in here cranky and mean to people because you're tired, because we don't know how to act when we're tired sometimes.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's good. We just bust out with that. That's all right. All right. So we could just go back up a little bit. So we have tell us a little bit about just you. I don't even know. I just said Anita Gethers, you're an educator and a motivational speaker. So what do you do? What do you teach? How does this work?
Got you. So I currently teach in South Carolina, in a district in Williamsburg County School District. Okay. I've been teaching in the profession overall. Oh gosh, I want to say this is my 12th or 13th year. So I've been doing it for a little bit. I got a little tenure on me now. And I have done middle school, but I'm currently teaching high school English. Okay. So English is my area of expertise. And honestly, I love it. I love reading. I love analyzing. I love discussing. I love the implications that literature has on life and that life has on literature. Don't get me started with that, because we'll go all day. Okay. But that's currently where I am and what I do outside of the classroom. As you stated already, working on and working in the field of being a motivational speaker. That is something that I never would have imagined for myself, because believe it or not, I'm actually a bit of an introvert. So I'm an introvert. I'm selectively extroverted. So I can sometimes come out of my shell, but for the most part, I'm withdrawn. Give me and my two little friends, and that's all I need right there. So the motivational speaking thing, but it comes from answering the call or being the answer to a problem. I think that when you're operating in purpose, you're supposed to be the answer to a problem. And so even working in the classroom, the whole reason why I became a teacher to begin with is because I can remember sitting in my high school English teacher's class, and I said to myself, I could have taught this lesson better than she did. This is the crazy thing. She's retired now, but was a phenomenal English teacher. I loved her. A lot of what I know and a lot of my teaching style came from her. But that one lesson, I was like, oh, no. I really could have rocked it. Like I really could have, I could have put some things in. And therein, my purpose was birthed. My answer is to a classroom problem, to a teaching problem. And I'm supposed to be the answer to that problem. So since I've embraced that, I've been doing it ever since. And like I said, I absolutely love what I do.
Yeah, most teachers are I will tell you, I don't know if it's true or not, will tell you they're introverts. I don't know if we get tired because we're talking all day. We're talking to kids all day, that outside of that, we don't have the energy, or is it just our upbringing and this is a way to get it out because we have to let out what's inside of us. And that is teaching or speaking. So like this podcast, I love doing this. I just love it. If I was an introvert, you would never know it, because this is how much I love it. So this gives me life. So, and teaching is the same thing. Teaching students, it gives me life. But I thought about when you said about your teacher, probably she was tired. If you said she's a phenomenal teacher and she did something, she probably was tired. I promise you, she didn't, the content wasn't her expertise, whatever that her lesson was. If she's great, but she could have been tired. because you actually tired on a day that you could have knocked it out of the box, and then you're like, yeah, but nah, I want to say something. No, I'm not gonna say all that. I don't. Yeah. So that could be.
Listen, the lack of self-care impacts our profession in real time. And although we would hate to admit it, even the students can detect when we're having an off day.
Yeah.
My students will tell me, because now see here in the South now, their manners is a little different. So they'll tell me, Ms. Gethers, you all right? Today was an off day for you. You just wasn't giving all the, it could have been better. Me, oh yeah. But realistic, and now granted, they don't mean any harm by it, but they're giving me that honest, real-time feedback, because they can detect if I'm not following and executing my self-care regimen the way that I need to be in order to take care of me. They can always tell. So the evidence of your self-care will be in your fruit. And so if your fruit comes out and your fruit is not sweet and juicy, then we know you had a bad harvest season. You got to make sure that you're putting in the right things, nutrients in your soil, in order for you to produce that fruit. And if you're not producing, then it's a soil problem. You got to do the self-care. Self-care, if I had to make a metaphor, self-care is a soil problem, or a soil solution, I should say. The more you tend to the soil, the better the things that will grow from it. But bad soil does not produce good fruit.
Oh, these sound like this is a guy I listen to, Earl Nightingale, and he says you reap what you sow. Cause and effect. We call it what we want, but it doesn't matter if you sow something good, sow into yourself, you're gonna reap the harvest. If you sow something bad, and he says this is one thing he says, and he says, because he says that's a law. That law is there no matter what. Reaping and sowing, it's biblical. It's not biblical. It's life. It's a law, and life laws don't change, right? And so he's saying the world does not care what you sow. Your mind does not care what you sow, but you're going to reap what you sow. So you would rather sow something into yourself to have better days. So we did that. I just want to talk about, okay, we're going into the summertime, right?
That's right.
The summertime, I love going to the beaches. I love traveling up and down the highways, hitting every beach I could from here to North Carolina, wherever I could get it, right? My family, we got the tents, we got the wagons, we got all our stuff for the beach, right?
Y'all some beach goers, all right.
Boogie boards, all that stuff, beaches. That doesn't mean I'm resting. That doesn't mean I'm resting. Just because I'm enjoying my time off. I'm resting. So what do you say about how do you use the summer? Does it actually offer sacred spaces for recovery, or do we have to find those spots in the summer, or is it just a natural thing? It's summer, we're off.
Right. Listen, Ronnette, you touching on something serious right here. This is one of the foundational principles as it relates to self-care. Self-care has to be proactive. It cannot be something that you fall into. So when you say, oh, I went on a family trip, I took the kids and we went this and we did that. And I say that was a great family trip, but it may or may not have been self-care. Just because you're traveling, it does not mean, oh, well, I did this. Yeah, if I go on a family trip right now, me, mom, dad, sister, brother, niece, nephews, that's great. That does not mean that I exercise self-care. That means I went somewhere.
Yeah.
Self-care has to be a proactive, intentional decision about what you're doing to refuel. Okay, especially, and I love women. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are some great mothers, right? I'm an auntie. But here's the thing. Typically, when you're going on a trip, you're still taking care of other people. If you are taking care of other people, if you had to plan it, if you had to make sure that things were in line, if you had to financially budget for it, that's not self-care. You had fun, but it wasn't. The difference, here's the thing. This is the metaphor that I usually tell people when it comes down to self-care. I want you to think of it like you are a vehicle, right? Everybody's a vehicle. Pick your favorite vehicle. Some of y'all might want to be a Hummer, and that's fine. Be that big old Hummer. Go for it. Some of you might want to be a Tesla. Some of y'all might want to be, a little Mercedes. But it doesn't matter. Pick your car. You're a car, okay? If I'm going on this long trip, I have to put gas in the car or electric car. I got to charge it, right?
Yeah.
Once the car runs out of gas or once it runs out of the electrical charge, the car is going to stop. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Just because the car stopped does not mean that it refueled.
Right.
And we treat self-care like if I stop doing one thing, boom, that was self-care. I'm refueled, I'm recharged, I'm ready to go. And so we approach the summer and we say, well, I stopped teaching, I stopped lesson planning, I stopped having to do this for the school. Therefore, I'm recharged, I'm refueled. And that's the issue. And so by the time we get to August, or for you guys in up north, September, you think that your summer vacation, you did some great self-care and you refueled. No, you stopped your car.
Yeah.
The car stopped. You did not put anything back into the tank in order to go for the next part of the trip.
Yes.
And so I need everybody to get out of this habit of, well, as long as I'm not doing one thing, I'm automatically doing something else. That's not true. That's one of the myths that I love to debunk about self-care. Just because you stopped teaching does not mean that you refueled.
No.
You didn't put anything in the tank. You just stopped. The car just stopped. That's it.
Yeah. So what does real, I want to say real rest. I don't know. We're talking about rest. What does real self-care look like? Rest and self-care could be something different. So
this is, oh my gosh,
so
true.
Look like to me.
So true. Rest is a break from. Okay. So when I'm sleeping, that is a break from my senses being alert, me being up, aware, all that thing, right? That's rest. Yes, it is important to rest. Yeah. After you rest, now you refuel. Refuel means you have to do things with intentionality. You have to put things into you that is going to energize you. Okay. Now we're spiritual people. So it is the equivalent of when you are praying, or when you are fasting, or when you are reading the word, or when you are studying, when you are sharing, those things. That's putting something in. You got to put something in order to be able to go, right?
Yeah.
So in real time, when it comes down for summer vacation, what are you putting in? Now, for everyone, it is different. So I'll use myself as an example. When summer vacation hits, I take time to rest. So I might take that first week and I'm just resting. Don't ask me to do anything outside of wash. I'm going to take that shower. I'm going to cook me a little something. That's about it. That's about all I got for you. I am in rest mode. Okay. After that, now I need to do things that are going to energize me. So now I'm going to put things in that's going to help me go further. What does the in look like? I'm a spiritual person. So of course that involves my spiritual strengthening, right? That's the praying, that's the Bible study, that's all of those things. What I also do, because I'm an artist, so I have to write. So I am reading, not reading something that I'm going to teach the kids. Yeah. Because now my mind is thinking, oh, and in the classroom, I can do this. And I could. That's not what that's for. I'm in refuel mode. I can't refuel and then be on the go at the same time. I'm not a mobile gas station, right? So if I'm an artist, then I'm going to be reading things. I'm going to be going to museums. I'm going to be painting. I'm going to be writing, because those things bring me something as I am putting something out, right? Well, let's say you're not an artist. My mom is a gardener. She loves to be out there in that garden, and it's 95 degrees when you wake up in the morning in South Carolina. And this is my mama out there in the garden. This me. You go ahead. I'll check on you later. Okay. But I can't go. What does that do for her? Putting her hands in that dirt and cultivating something is pouring back into herself. She is connecting with a being and with a movement, with a vibe, with the energy, with a spirit that is beyond herself. Yeah. Spiritual refuel means connecting with a spirit that isn't exhausted. Yeah. So you have to do the same thing. So educators, we have to find the same thing. What is it that exists outside of you that will recharge you, that you need to connect with? It has to be something spiritual. So it might be music, it might be art, it might be nature, It might be music, art, and nature are typically the top three things, right? It sometimes for some people it's serving, but I'm very cautious about how y'all serve, because even serving, I don't know how well that's refueling, but when you serve properly, it can be that way as well.
Yeah.
For some people it's reading, it's writing, it's something that's going to be pouring back into you so you have the energy to keep going.
Yeah, you know, I heard you say something. You said something outside of you, but when you talked about your mom, I heard it's something inside of you that helps you refuel. That's what I heard. That's not what you said, but you said it. But that's what I heard. That's how I took it. It's something inside of you, something that when you say that spirit being, that's inside, and she's a creator. She's a creator, and that's something inside of you that you tap into in order to recharge. I think about those hybrid cars that you don't have to plug in. The battery is the electric battery or whatever it is recharging while you're driving. And so the car is executing, delivering some kind of service, and then that battery is recharging. And I was in somebody's car and you could see it recharging. So this podcast, I'm serving. I could not, if it just say Tuesday, something happened where it felt like I couldn't do it, I wouldn't feel right. I would feel like something is missing, right? Because that's something inside. This is something inside of me that I'm giving out. So that's how I got that. When you talk about your mom getting in that soil, that was coming from within.
Hey.
So it is something that we get from within that we give out. That might not be where we were going. Listen, I got that.
I'm glad that you said that, because I think I agree. I think that it's cyclical. I think that it's giving to you as you give to it. And it's a beautiful representation of that balance of life. So I like how you said she's a creator, right? I think that all teachers are creatives on some level.
Yeah.
I think, because if we weren't, then our lessons would be dull and boring. All of us have this certain spin that we see, that we feel like there's a way that we can execute the lesson. So this podcast for you is a creation. Yeah. It is a production of something internal that you're giving, that's also giving back to you. Yeah. And as educators, when we're in the classroom, sometimes we're given those lessons, and the things that we're looking for, we're not always getting back.
Yeah.
It takes time, or it doesn't take more than sometimes we're just planting seeds. We don't get to see the harvest. Elementary teachers, they're teaching those kids how to read, and all they'll ever hear is, Dr. Seuss. They'll never hear where the child gets to 10th grade, 11th grade, and now they're reading Shakespeare with comprehension, right? They don't get to see that. That's because they're sowing that seed. So sometimes, but their lesson, they have to do it with the faith that eventually it's going to yield a harvest, right? But sometimes that's exhausting when you're not getting an immediate putback into your investment. And that's the reason why during the summertime, and honestly throughout the school year, we got to practice that self-care so we can continue to get back as we're putting out. We're all creatives. Whether you're creating podcasts, whether you're creating content, whether you're like me, like I said, I love to write, whether you're creating that. Some people, they're good with their hands, so they create artwork, they create crafts, but it is something, and in doing those things and in that creating, right, we're getting back the things that we have been depleted of because we haven't had an opportunity to create those things throughout the year.
Yeah, you're right. Because this is not me in a classroom. I'm not talking to kids. This is me with adults, helping educators to be their own superhero. So when you're giving this, you're not our superhero, because you can tell us all you want. I have to execute. I have to actually perform this and see where I need self-care, where I need rest. And then I'm going to be my superhero. So this is something that this is what I'm doing. And this is just, I don't know. It's just like when you're in a classroom, that's your job and you're excited about it, because I get energized from teaching. I do. I love it. That doesn't mean I like everything about it. That doesn't mean I like every day. you know,
right.
but I love what I do. And then when you talk about that planting seeds, you don't understand. I used to hate when people say that to me. You're planting seeds. You're not going to see it. Somebody else going to see it. You're planting seeds. Or you're watering. So stop it. I need to see some growth here. And yeah. And so now, because of the demographic that I have, they came in not speaking English. So they may have known a little bit of English. And so now, starting April, I'm able to give lessons where they're able to create words, like change words from like hair to chair, you know, things like that, where I asked them questions when they knew hardly the letters. Some of them still don't know the letters, but it was like, oh, wow. So we writing words now, you know, so we can so you can read now. I'm looking at a little girl the other day. I tested her. Maybe she didn't test well. She was like a level B, which is like kindergarten. And now she's reading first grade this week. And I said, well, did I test you for real? Because you're reading this book. This is a D book, an e-book, and you're reading it. And I can see it. And so I'm telling you, in December, and you talking to me about planting seeds, I don't want to hear that. I'm like, no, I need to see something. This is not working. Right? It's not working. But I see it now. And so yeah, we got that. So self-care looks like rest is rest.
Right.
That's self-work from whatever. Self-care is so when I hear people say self-care, like people talking about getting your nails done, that's not self-care because it's stressful. I don't even go. I do my own now. You're stressing me out. You're burning my fingers. That's not self-care to me. That might be maintenance or something, but that's not self-care. And so self-care, when I think self-care, is going to a spa, relaxing, going to a beach, right? But you're saying self-care is like giving of yourself or taking something in for yourself, different. I want to make sure I understand. We understand self-care is for everybody. So
it is
self-care. I don't want to leave here saying, well, I thought I was doing self-care. You know?
I got you. So like you said, it is different for different people. I personally think that self-care it's a give and take. Whatever the activity is, there's going to be some give and take involved, right? Because self-care is an investment. And any investment requires that you give something in order to receive something. Okay. So the thing about it is, like, let's say you said, for example, you were like, oh, I don't know about getting your nails done. I don't know if that's self-care. That may be more maintenance, right? All right. It depends on if that maintenance job, what it provides to you, what is it giving back to you, right? So if I'm a person where I haven't felt appreciated or pampered in a way, and that is something that's going to help refuel because I'm receiving that attention that I've felt neglected, then in that sense, self-care. Because emotionally speaking, I was feeling depleted. I was feeling like, no one cares and no one's really looking and no one's really, but now that I have these nails, right? So that could be a form, right? But for me, like I'm not big on getting my nails. And now I will get these feet done because that petty, that summertime is coming. I gotta wear them sandals, right? But for me personally, self-care, sometimes like for me, I like quiet and stillness. Yeah. Okay. Sometimes I'll just ride home in silence. Sometimes it's because I'm talking to God like, Lord, what happened today? I thought you were gonna meet me there. What happened? Right. Yeah. But in those quiet, still moments, right, I'm journaling. I'm writing whatever comes to my mind because sometimes it's good to get it out of here and onto paper, right? Yeah. That requires a sacrifice of me. I still have to write. I still have to do something. But in that writing, what I am receiving or what I'm taking in is peace. And that peace is what I've been searching for because throughout the year, it has been hectic and chaotic and not peaceful. Yeah. So it is whatever activity that's going to nurture a need that may have been overlooked or may have not been getting all of the attention that it needs to get. That's the self-care part. Yeah. And so it at different point and different stages in the school year and throughout the summertime, it's going to vary. Sometimes I need something to take care of the emotional need. Sometimes it's the physical need. We don't like to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because that means you got to go, work out or go walk somewhere. And we don't want to, people, no, I'm resting. I don't want to work out. And I'm like, actually, even though the workout is a workout, that's part of self-care. That's part of your physical self-care.
Absolutely.
And as you're doing that physical activity, whether you're going for a walk, whether you hitting them weights in the gym, whatever it is that you're doing, you're giving something. But in that giving, you're receiving something. You are de-stressing so that you can take in peace. You are getting out the anxiety so that you can take in joy. Those things, that's how it happens.
Yeah, you know what? You said that because I've got on here, we're going to talk about resetting the mind, body, and spirit. I forgot about that. Body, wait, what? Yes. And I get up before I get out of my bed, I do a plank on my bed because
go ahead, girl.
I'm not great. I do it though. I was at my grandson's, so he was like, "That wasn't even it. That wasn't even 30 seconds." Yeah, that's why it doesn't hurt because I do it every day, and I'm like, "It doesn't hurt." So you know how I feel like it's doing it. It doesn't feel like it's doing anything. Probably I need to go longer, but that's something. Because I do exercise, I do strengthen, I have my elastic bands and stuff, but you have to tone because I watch my mom and that self-care is not, it's like something's happening. She's 83 or something like that. And her muscles are weak. She doesn't care for those muscles. And that's something that we have to do. Like that's self-care. I need my muscles, so I need to be able to make it up and down these stairs. So I forgot. I'm saying mind, body, and spirit, but
listen, I think that the physical self-care aspect is probably one that is obvious but overlooked frequently for educators. And during the summertime, we don't want to be on a regimen. Because a regiment means, restrictions. It's the summertime. I'm trying to eat banana pudding and strawberry shortcake and have the ice cream and all those things, right? It's the summertime. We like our beverages.
Yeah.
Okay. And with those beverages, we overlook that part, not realizing, of course, that the summertime is the perfect time to actually start a physical regimen. Now during the school years, no, I was too busy, I was too tired, I was too this, I was too that. But the issue becomes you weren't any of those things. You didn't sacrifice for your self-care.
Or we don't block our time block, as people say.
Right.
I try to time block, but I don't do it. I don't do it right. I say I'm about to do this and I'm gonna use this day. Yesterday, I wrote for a long time, right? I was before I know it was 9 o'clock. I didn't time block because I wanted to go for a walk. I wanted to wash my hair. I ended up washing my hair 10:30. I had to twist it. I got to bed at 1 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Because then I had to dry it. I had to do all that.
That's right.
I time block. I knew I needed to write, right? I knew I needed to do that. But I didn't time block. So we time block, just say you have another trade or another craft or something. You put 2 hours in. I don't want to say more than that, but 2 hours in. And you say, and that's it. Everybody, once you get this routine in, everybody will know. Like Tuesday, everybody knows. Don't ask me to take anybody anywhere. Don't call me because this is what I'm going to be doing every day at 2 from 6 to 7. This is what I'm going to be doing. So people, once you time block, people understand. So maybe my family only think I time block Tuesday. Other days they do something else, but everybody understands. So yeah, we have time. Everybody has the same 24 hours.
That's right.
So with that, there's no such thing as we don't have enough time.
What I heard you say, I know what you said, but what I heard you say was self-care is about boundaries. And for a lot of educators, we have a hard time establishing, and I'm sorry, not just establishing, and maintaining
Yeah.
The boundaries, because our boundaries are not hard boundaries. They're pool noodle boundaries.
I'll go here.
It's something right there, but it kind of moves, it fluctuates, it does a little bit of this when the water, when the waves, when the tide comes and goes. Your boundaries cannot be pool noodle boundaries. They have to be hard boundaries. So as you said, once your family is acclimated to the point where it's like, well, don't bother her on Tuesdays because she does XYZ. The same thing needs to be true about whatever else that we put into place that is a part of our self-care routine. I think 95% of the people who I talk to who don't have a consistent self-care routine is because they do not have hard boundaries.
Right.
So my boundaries, I tell people physical health wise, hey, I wake up, if I say I'm gonna wake up on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and I'm gonna go for a walk from 5 to 6. And people are like, oh my gosh, I can't get up that early in the morning. Well, you could and you would, but you don't.
Yeah.
And so because you're not willing to do that, the physical aspect falls by the wayside. And throughout the school year, we're lazy, we are lethargic, some of us throughout the school year, we put on stress pounds. And that issue is because you do not practice your physical self-care. Why is it? Now you got Saturdays and Sundays. So that's 2 days out of the week where you're not going to work, where you should be doing something physical. Squeeze in one more day and you can tell me 3 days a week I do this.
But I think there has to be some education to go along with that, because not everybody feel like you need to do it. It's not that, to me, it's not that a lot of people who are not exercise, it's not because they're lazy. A lot of times it's because of education. Like, you don't know. I grew up in a family, nobody exercised. I exercised because I went to college, and then I had physical fitness classes and stuff, right? Nobody. I'm talking about diabetes running through, pressure running through, everybody overweight. So I don't believe it could be, but not all the time. Just because sometimes it's education we don't understand, like eating right. One of my aunts, the doctor told her to eat less carbs, and she said, the doctor told me to eat less carbs, right? And she said, but I don't even know what carbs are. She didn't ask her what a carb was. She didn't know. It's all the food you eat, everything you eat, except for the meat, right? Or the grain.
Right.
She didn't understand drinking soda is full of sugar. She didn't understand that. So a lot of times some of that stuff is built in, because we are just learning eat garlic. We're just learning to make sure, we have certain things in our food. Make sure we have vegetables in every meal. Like, I was listening to this, and she told me you need vegetables in every meal. So I learned how to make eggs with spinach and stuff in it, like in peppers and onions. My mother ate peppers and onions because she liked peppers and onions. Right. Well, they got a lot of vegetables, but they get no exercise.
Right. So listen, Ronnette, you touched on something there, which is like very, very big and key. As teachers, as educators, right? I mean, this is people in general, but educators specifically. During the summer, that's the time, as a part of self-care, to figure out those recipes that are quick, simple, things that you can be using throughout the school year. I think that, once again, this is an opportunity for us. It's like, hey, during the school year, we don't want to think about, what we got to cook, meal prepping, and all those different things. Why not, during the summer, find some good, healthy meals that you can put into your rotational practice when the school year starts? That's going to help be a great part of your physical self-care, right? And so we can educate ourselves on these things. You said, you were talking about what's, in your family. I have diabetes runs heavy through mine. And so my mom, I have to talk to her, and she educates me. She's like, no. And I always thought it was just sugar. And she's like, no, sweetheart, it's not just sugar. Bread is sugar. This me. Well, what's wrong with the bread? The bread is not sweet. And she's like, yeah, but bread is carbs, and carbs, the way that the body breaks it down is this. And I mean, she educates me. As educators, we will not educate ourselves on what runs in the family and what things we can avoid and what foods we need to implement in order to make sure that we break those generational cycles. Because that's all that it is. If it runs in your if high blood pressure runs in your family, why are you still eating the smoked neck bone and the sausage for breakfast?
Well, I'm going to tell you, we're going to move on around to around the school year. But I met this guy. I didn't even know him. I bumped into a guy. He's in the store talking, and he's talking about his diabetes or high blood pressure. I forgot which one it was. And I said, well, it's what you're eating. He said, nah, everybody in my family got it. No, it's what you're eating. So you're eating and your exercise. I promise you that. You eat right. You cut off some of that food and eat whole foods. He said, nah, he was not trying to hear anything I said. I didn't know him. It just was, he was speaking out loud, talking in the store. Okay, well, you want everybody in this conversation. So I was like that. And it's so funny because we don't know. We don't know. But this is what I like about this show. And we have people coming on this show. And I know this is my show, but it don't matter. We have people coming on here, and if you watch this show, any episode you could choose, you're gonna find something. You're gonna learn something that you didn't know. So the fact that we can have all kind of excuses because we lie to ourselves all day, every day about something. We don't have time. We lie about, I'm not going to eat sugar. I wasn't going to eat anything sugary for the next month or something like that because then I stopped eating anything because I'm allergic to something. I don't know what it is. I forgot. But I forgot. I don't know. So I said I'm going to cut everything out and I'm going to drink water today and then something else and then add things gradually, right? When I said it, my mind knew that I was lying. Like it knew that I was lying. It knew, like your body is it has habits of its where it can operate on its own after it just because you just got this cycle. This is what you're doing. My body just knows. Okay, let's pull in here without me thinking, and you go get you something that you know you shouldn't be eating, and just automatically next thing I know I'm ordering something. He says that it. Oh no, wait. Y'all got that strawberry pie, don't you? Yeah, but it's just that's how it is. But that's what I like because we can learn things that there's no excuse for educating ourselves on anything.
That's right.
I want to talk about the summer. We talk about the summer. When we get back to school, what is it that we can do to recognize signs, of burnout early? I say burnout, but I don't really believe in that word. Is this go ahead. I'm not even gonna mess up the conversation. I just hate that word. I say it, but I don't really like it because that means we forgot who we are. If we forgot who we are. And that's my take on it. I can show you in the Bible. I got you. Like I hate that word, but I say it because that's our word. Teachers like that word.
I got you.
So what how can we recognize and then what do we do about it?
Okay. So how do we recognize it? First you have to know yourself. Because if you don't know yourself, then you're not gonna be able to pick up on when you are acting out of character or when your actions are actually passive aggressive to an emotion that you're experiencing that you haven't addressed yet. So for me, personally, when I recognize that something is off, that I am heading in the wrong direction, that my self-care is not, that I haven't been exercising and practicing my self-care, when I start acting out of character. I'm not the most patient person in the world, but I have a good level of patience. But when I realize that in the morning time, before the children even get to my classroom, I'm ready to snap, that lets me know, hey, you're being impatient in an area where you're typically patient. What's the problem? Yeah. Or, typically I come in, everybody, I'll prepare. I gotta have my day ready the day before. I'm a prepared person, right? So if I'm coming in and I'm winging it and I don't even care that I'm winging it, I'm acting out of character. Why am I acting out of character? Because once again, I'm not doing the self-care. Or there's an issue within me that I am not addressing. I'm not sleeping properly. There's an issue within me that I'm not addressing. There's signs, there's indications for every individual when you are approaching a breaking point. Okay. And that breaking point, I know you say you don't like burnout, but for me, it's a breaking point. You're about to cross over. You're about to leave where you currently reside, and you're about to cross over into territory that is not like you, nor is it for you. And if you realize you're approaching that boundary, then that's when you know, oh, there's something off. I need to recalibrate. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do we do in that time in order to make sure that we recalibrate and that we remain true to who we really are, and to remain true to what we're called to do and fulfilling our purpose, right? Yeah. So we have to go back to the practices that will feed us spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically.
Yeah.
And it has to be a rotation of those things it's supposed to be daily. But if you're not getting it done daily, you got to do it weekly. Because if you don't do it weekly, you will approach that breaking point much, much faster.
Yeah.
And that's the issue with people. And the reason why it doesn't happen at the beginning of the school year is because you haven't been triggered.
Yeah.
It's still honeymoon phase. The kids are not really starting to show you their true colors yet. You're not knee deep into this content yet. Everything is okay. But once you start getting further into the school year, you're going to start realizing where the imbalance is in those 4 areas. Is it spiritual? Have you not been praying? Have you not been fasting? Have you not been reading your Bible? Have you not been going to church and getting in community, because community is important? Physically, what are your eating and drinking habits looking like? Are you exercising? Are you even eating? Because you have some teachers, when they get so stressed, they're not even eating properly, right?
Really.
Mentally, what are you doing as a mindful activity? Because depression can sink in. Anxiety can sink in. These things are all attacks on your mental. What are you doing to mentally refresh and mentally refocus? And then emotionally, and this is the one that we don't like to talk about, because when we talk about emotions, it makes us look weak. But emotions are just simply indicators of what's going on inside of you. If you're ignoring the emotion, then you're ignoring what's going on inside. And then that's what happens when you snap, because emotionally you did not check yourself. You have to, and that's where your self-care regimen needs to reside. And what are you doing in those 4 areas that is not just resting from, but refueling for whatever is ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. You said that. So you have to make sure things aren't left unchecked. And we could say that however you want to say, checking off boxes, or just things that you didn't check. You felt like you were getting snappy, or you felt like you were overly tired. You just not, because a lot of times we're overly tired because we're not eating right. My doctor, I found out I was sleeping for a minute there. She said, "You're not eating enough protein." I started eating more protein. I'm good. Like, what? That's all I had to do. Like, I'm good. So that stuff. So that you already answered what I was going to ask about being consistently practicing strategies, so you won't lead to burnout. And then if you feel like you're burning out, the same strategies is what you're going to do. So
but that's why it's so important. With the summer coming up, now is the time to figure out what that regimen looks like for you.
Yeah.
So many teachers, we get to the summertime and we're so happy to not have to be going to work and not dealing with the kids, that we do not take the time to implement a self-care regimen. And now's the important time to do it. So that way, when school year starts, you already have one in place. It's hard to implement things when you get back into the school year. Instead of doing that, start over the summer. And then when you get back into the school year, you already have it going on.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we have to be intentional. That's what I'm hearing. We have to be intentional about our mind, body, and spirit. Like, you just can't wing it, go with the flow. You know how you hear people like, whatever happens, happens, or whatever God wants. Yeah, God gonna tell you what to do. So you say like he just gonna knock you over with something. No, that's not how it works. You have to be intentional. Sometimes, you can get something just out of the blue, but you ain't gonna get healthy out of the blue. right? Your mind, you're not going to get that information from those books that you're not reading out of the blue. You have to be intentional. Okay, I'm going to read every day. I have different books I'm going to read. These people, these authors, I'm going to read their books. Some people, I used to read fiction. I don't read fiction now. I read fiction to my students. So for me, I'm reading more self-help books, more motivational books, more entrepreneurial books. So I'm learning a lot. That is helping me. So whatever it is that you do, so I appreciate you. You knock this out because I'm leaving here. Like I said, I'm leaving here knowing some things. I understand that I have to educate myself, right? Absolutely. On everything physical, everything mental, everything spiritual. I have to educate myself what I need, what fills me up. We talked about that a few weeks ago. Last 3 weeks, we've been talking about this. Like everything, every episode just about leads to self-care, because I don't care what it is, you need to take care of yourself. You're no good for anybody if you're not taking care of yourself.
That's right.
I had an aunt. She passed away a couple years ago. Whatever she wanted, she had some taste, like it was like wealthy taste. I don't know what you call it. Like she liked nice things.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted that. But guess what? When it came to the end, none of that stuff mattered.
That's right.
None of that stuff mattered. Her health is what mattered. And so we got to educate ourselves on being spiritually, financially, mentally, physically wealthy. So I appreciate you. This was much needed. And I think it's perfect for this end of the school year.
Absolutely.
So anything that you want to take us out, you just took us out, and I just messed it all up. I didn't mess it up. People forgot what you just said. I start talking. But
no, you're fine. Listen, for everyone, just remember that self-care is a sacrifice because you are a worthy investment. Okay. Find out what routine works for you and work that routine. You have to work it, you have to work at it, and you have to stay consistent with it. The one thing that I tell all teachers and all people, the area you struggle in is the area you're inconsistent in. So if you're struggling, you got to get consistent. All right. And once you get that self-care regimen happening, it will become something, you got to build an appetite for it. And once you build the appetite for it, then you'll be excited about fulfilling that appetite. So that's what you guys got to do. And I hope that it helps.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate that. This was a good episode. We have great guests on here. I keep saying that like I'm a commercial for my own self. But for real, we have I'm trying to find that out what I have to say for the outro. But yeah, we just have to be consistent in what we're doing, and this is just, I'm trying to find, I don't know. I lost my stuff. Okay. So, but just make sure that you take care of yourself. Make sure that you find a routine, a regimen that works for you, like she just said. And again, if you enjoyed this episode, remember to like and share with other educators. We are here every Tuesday. Every single Tuesday at 6 p.m. I don't know if things are going to change later on, but right now it's been for the past couple years. Every Tuesday at 6 p.m. live and in person. And
well, live and in person, Ronnette, thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much for this ministry that you are doing. The educators who tap into this, they will benefit greatly. They will grow. So we appreciate all the work that you are doing to help us get better and to make sure that we keep that oil, because it is important that we wear it well. So thank you so much. And I hope many, many, many tremendous blessings on everything that you touch so that you can reach the audience that God intended you to reach.
Thank you so much. And with that, you were talking about journaling real quick. I have a journal. I just completed one book. Is going to have 3 volumes. I just completed, so I have to get with Amazon and see how I'm going to put it out. It's for educators, and it's called Educators with Oil, Teacher's Journal. So that is it, and it's made for us by us. So
That's right.
it's awesome for us. And it talks about journaling for our part of our teaching day and then part of our personal life. So put it together and reflect on our day. What went well? What did we think that, was there any challenges? So that's going to be out soon.
All right.
Next month. I'm excited about that.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. So with that said, remember again to like, share, and subscribe, and take that oil with you.
Take it with you, people.
Yes, I appreciate you. So I'm going to end today's session. Thank you and have a blessed day.
Subscribe to Educators with Oil podcast on your preferred platform and join Ronnette on this mission to empower teachers through the wisdom of the Bible. Because when biblical strategies meet the classroom, extraordinary teaching happens.
Educators, let's shine a light on our classrooms. See you on Educators with Oil podcast, where teaching and faith unite.